wrong button. There we go. I believe we are live. I'm going to wait just to make sure we've got audio and everything is okay. And oh, I have to say it quietly. Although it looks like I'm going to have to adjust their camera. It's really dark over there. Actually, it looks like what it looks like in person. Audio, video is good. So we are already going to start the night off. Let me just start with what we're doing, and then we'll get to the boys. Who, look at Wade looking at me. Can you see him? He's like, I know it's coming. I know. I'm aware. Okay, we are going to be drawing a panda in charcoal tonight. I'm going to be using a combination of my charcoal. Actually, I don't even know if I'm going to need charcoal powder on this. We'll see. And a lot of charcoal pencils over here. I am working on Inktense. And I've pre-drawn him, well, I haven't really pre-drawn him out. I've got this drawn on a piece of tracing paper, and I'm going to transfer the image onto this, and I'm going to do that live so you can see exactly how I get my images onto the paper. This paper being, the Inktense is too thick. It's not going to work with like a light box or anything where you trace over your original drawing. And I don't want to just sketch on the Inktense because I would have eraser marks everywhere. It will look terrible. So I want to pre-draw that on something else, or just trace it. That's fine too. You can trace it directly from your computer monitor by taping the paper to it, and then you can use transfer paper, as I'm going to show you, to get that cleanly onto your image. But before we start, let's go ahead, fly me to the moon. Thank you so much. Look at, he knows. You get a super chat? Okay, boys. Oh, you are way too close to my tea. I don't want you drooling on that. Okay, there you go. Good boys. Yeah, I know. Very tasty. Go lay down. Down. You too, Gibson. Oh, you're still chewing? You are the slowest eater. Go lay down. Lay down. Go on. All the way. Gibson, down. You can chew in your bed. Or hack in your bed. Wade, lay down. Are we just not going to listen tonight at all? Gibson, down. Or you're going to... That was lovely. Let's just go ahead and change the camera because you just spit that all out, and now he'll re-eat it because... Dogs. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started in this, and as always, you can bid on this if you want to own the drawing that I'm going to finish tonight. So hopefully I've got some transfer paper over here. I actually thought I was a little bit more prepared. I always think that, and I never am. This should work fine. I don't even know what brand this is. Which side is which? That side, or neither side is working. Okay, you don't want to work on this paper. Let me just dig that out. Here we go. This is the one I want. So when I taped this at the upper corners, I don't know if you can see better on this one. Not really. This is taped on both upper corners. You don't want to just put tape in the middle because the whole thing is going to slide back and forth as you're drawing things out, and you don't want that to happen. And then I'm just going to slide my transfer paper under. And you can get this reference photo over at my website. Link is in the description. And let's make sure this is going to draw out well on this. Yep, we're drawing fine. So we're just going to go over everything lightly. And this is how I can get things really cleanly onto my paper. Do the same thing if I'm doing acrylic painting, especially if I've done a background where I need to put the image after I've done the background. You can see I don't have every little detail in here. I want my general, where the eyes go, the general shape. That's going to save me time. And I need to change glasses because I can't see what I'm doing. I knew I was forgetting something. And what I do is measure out. Can you see the line that I have going right through here? I took my mat and lined exactly the size I was going to want this to be. That way I knew my image was going to fit perfectly within this mat size. Oh, I can't even see half of this. Hold on, let me change my glasses while I'm at it. This paper is old. I may have to switch to a new one and do that again. You can reuse your tracing or your transfer paper over and over again, but it does get to a point where it's so worn. Can you see all the little lines? I have used this for so long. There's not a lot of oomph left in it. I can't see crap on that. Hold on, let me see if I can find a new sheet. That one is way more used. And I'm doing this tonight on a 5x7. Okay, let me check in one other location. Okay, here we go. Something over here should work. This one's used, it just doesn't look as bad. Let's find out. I may have to grab another new one. I need to go through and organize all that because it's always a challenge when I need some tracing or some transfer paper. Yeah, that's showing up much better. And so this is just a stylus. You can also get what they call like nail, if you look up nail art or nail dotting tool on Amazon, those will work as well. It's the same thing, just the nail one usually is a bit cheaper. And see, I just slide that transfer paper, the transfer paper, that was the right word that time, around as I trace over this. And so even if you don't know how to draw or your drawing skills aren't great, this method is going to help you to jump into painting and drawing without first having to perfect your drawing skills. But the cool thing is it actually does improve your drawing skills because you're drawing it accurately or you're going to be working on something that's accurate. One of the things that happens a lot is people are determined, they feel like they're cheating if they don't draw everything themselves. What happens is you have a tendency when you're a beginner to make the same mistakes over and over again. So let's say you're drawing a panda. If it's slightly warped, the ears are too big, the nose is too small, things are too far to the left, it's just off. You do that enough and it's going to hit a point where your brain just starts accepting that as being accurate, even though it's not. When you've traced things, when you've done things accurately over and over again in the learning process, you will get to the point where when you're freehanding, you can very quickly recognize when something is not accurate. So this is a method, a tool that I use to help students improve their drawing skills. Trace something multiple times, then try freehanding it. Then trace it multiple times and try freehanding it. This is going to train your brain to see things much more accurately than it might be on its own. So I've seen students in person that I've worked with improve their drawing skills so much faster when they used this method versus just tracing or just freehanding by itself. And then for those of us who can draw, this method just saves time, or in this case, it also keeps my artwork really clean. So we can go ahead and lift that guy up. These glasses are dirty. Okay, you guys did not need to know that. Let's start. Actually, I don't even know if I'm going to need the charcoal powder tonight because this is not a huge piece. So, and I want to make sure that I go, even though the mat ends right about here, I'm going to take the Panda all the way to the tape. That way when I'm situating the mat, I can scoot it around and get it in exactly the right place without worrying about, oh, I didn't take the drawing all the way to the edge. Oh, we also have, Rick said, the pups look too skinny, have to fatten them up. Look, they already know I heard someone move. Look at them looking. Nope, you've got to wait till I say the word. Look at that bad cow, and he knows it's Rick, who's his spirit animal, so of course. You want a super chat? There you go. See, you had to wait. You cannot rush the process. Okay, tasty. Thank you for biting me, Wade. He's a little overzealous when it comes to taking his treats. Thank you so much, Rick. Okay, go lay down. Don't choke on it this time, Gibson. That was gross. Or you spitting it back up and then eating it was not lovely. Lay down. Gibson, down. Gibson, lay down. What are you doing? He's like, I spit up in this bed. I don't want to lay in it now. It wasn't even that dirty. You're fine. Okay. Now this paper tonight actually looks a little bit yellowy. Hold on, I think it's my lighting. Let me see if these are off a little bit. What do you guys set to? No, you're set at 52, so I guess you're okay. It is a little bit, the original is not quite as yellow as this. The camera, actually, hold on, I can fix it really quick. This should not take too long to fix. I can figure out where the button is. There we go. That camera, temperature. Let's scooch you. That looks a lot more accurate. There we go. Okay. You are saved. Let's close you down. Camera's still working. We are good. Okay. I am going to start with, and these charcoal pencils that I'm using tonight are the Generals. Now, I usually will go with 2 pencils. I have the extra soft, medium, and hard pencils. Make your life easier. If you are just starting with charcoal, take the extra soft or soft, either will work, and your hard pencil. Just those 2, if I can find it. Maybe. It may not be in this, might be in the other container. The reason for that is when you're dealing with too many options, it can be very confusing. Wait, should I go with medium? Should I go with soft? I'm not sure which. Go with the 2 extremes. Here we go. Now, the hard lead is not going to smudge as much. That's mainly the difference. It is not as dark as the soft, but the biggest, like most noticeable difference is it's not as smudgy. Whereas the soft is very, well, it's soft, it's going to smudge better, but it's also going to get darker. So the fine details, the little areas, I'm going to start with that. And I'm also going to use my white charcoal pencil. So let me sharpen these. Now this sharpener, I don't know if this sharpener is in very good condition. Let's find out if it starts breaking my pencils. Oh, no, it looks like it's pretty good. Wow. It's a Christmas miracle. So I'm going to sharpen both of those, and I'm just using a small comb sharpener. When those start to get dull, though, especially on your charcoal pencils, oh my gosh, they will snap and break like crazy. For that type of sharpener, a handheld sharpener to work well on charcoal, you really do need a very healthy, like very sharp blade. So I am going to start with my hard lead and go ahead with the eye. Now I do need to put a piece of glassine under my hand. You will work. You need some new tape though. You are not sticky. And this is going to keep the oils from my skin from getting on the artwork, but it's also going to keep me from smudging anything where I don't want to. So it serves 2 purposes there. And you are not the right pencil. There we go. So I'm going to start with the eye. And then I can come back through on the darkest dark areas with the softer lead. But I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm going to do most of my shading with a shading tool, if I can find one. There we go. Now, these shading tools tend to come in a set with these sandpaper guys. These are not for each other. They're in the same package, but you don't sharpen your shading tools. You get a new shading tool if you need a sharper shading tool. This is for sharpening your pencils or your charcoal, your colored pencils, but not these. You try to sharpen these on this and you will ruin these. They get bumpy and fuzzy, and you might be able to get them to work for some techniques, but for the majority of reasons you would use these, they no longer work. So these aren't supposed to be sharpened. They're very inexpensive, so if you find that you feel that you need a new one, just get a new one. And I'm somebody who will reuse something. Actually, this one here, I have had, well, it got shut in the door of my truck, so that had to have been back in when I had it in 2004. It's older than that, like that. It's at least that old. I can tell because it fits comfortably on my thumb. It's bent. You don't need to replace these often, and they don't need to actually be sharp. So what I'm doing is using this shading tool and just kind of shading, well, I am shading with what charcoal is already on that from the last time I did something with charcoal. So this gives me my lighter areas, and then I can come back through with a pencil to get the really dark areas. I love when these get dirty because you can use them for shading themselves, which is also great. You could actually do a scribble on a scratch piece of paper, smudge it onto this, and now you can shade with this to get even softer looks. So I'm getting the darken first. Let's also, we've got some dark for around the eye. Let's do that. And I'm going to switch over to the extra soft and get this really dark bit in. And then I'm going to soften that just a bit. And this will really smudge because that was the softer one. So I've got to be careful not to let it go too crazy with the smudging. One of the problems that a lot of people have when they're starting with painting and drawing is that they overblend things. You did a couple of brush strokes or a couple of pencil strokes, it looked awesome, so you think, well, 2 blending strokes look good, then 50 must look even better. No, don't overdo it, just a little bit of blending. Do less and add more to it as you need. Also, if you have any questions, leave them now. I'll be answering them at the end of the video once the project is done, so if you feel like I'm ignoring you, I actually am, but only temporarily. I'll get to all of the questions later on. So this whole area is a lot darker. I can go ahead and shade that with the pencil. Now notice that I'm focusing on one little area. I'm not jumping in going, okay, I'm going to do everything dark, the ear, the eye. We'll do everything dark now. I'm doing one small area and then moving around that. Focus on one area, because if you're jumping around too much at this stage, now I will start jumping around at the end to do little touch-ups here and there, but at this stage, if you are jumping around too much, you're going to have a very hard time getting it to look realistic. So what's better is to break it up into 1 or 2 small square inches and just focus on that until it's done. So I'm just looking at the area, see we've got this dark. Now this is one of the other challenges that a lot of artists have, is you'll look at an area like around the panda's eye and go, okay, that's black, and you just do it all solid black. But it's not. Look at these light areas we've got in here. A lot of variation there. Let me make sure that this is not overriding something that is making it not as in focus as I would like. Let me double check one thing. And a little bit lighter. That makes it better. Okay. Now this was super dark, so I can use what was on here to smudge in a little bit. Soften that some. I'm going to use the hard lead here because I don't want it to go too dark. And I've got the little hint of fur, little short clumps of fur. One of the things, I remember when I first started painting and drawing, I thought that I could make things look more realistic if I just put more details. So I need every little strand of fur drawn in. No, that is actually usually going to do the opposite for you. To make it look more realistic, in the case of fur, it's the clumps and clusters of fur, the way that it groups together, the way your lights and your darks are. It's not about getting every strand of fur. That is not going to make it look more realistic. It's your values. Are your darks dark enough and your lights light enough? Speaking of lights, let's grab that white pencil, start getting a little bit of detailing in here. This is a really tiny area. This will actually take longer than everything else, will go a lot faster. Just going to spend a little bit more time around the eye. Now that doesn't mean that you should rush through other areas, but I do want to make sure I put a little bit more into this. Now, what I'm looking at over here, you see me continuously look, there's my reference photo, and I'm just really paying attention to what I see there and copying what I see. That reference photo is a map for where things need to go on your work. So we really want to look at it. We want to spend more time looking at that than we do our reference photo. Than we do our artwork. That's the exact opposite of what I meant. I'm using that white pencil and I'm going to come back through. Oh, you can do charcoal with just the black, but oh my gosh, I love working back and forth between the white and the black pencils. It makes it so much more fun and it's a lot easier to control. I'm going to use the hard lead here just to shade, kind of round that up. I want it a bit darker on the upper section of the eye because the upper eyelid would cast a shadow there. I don't want it to be the same value, the same like mid-grade tone all the way around the pupil. Otherwise, it looks like he's staring at you, like someone gave that panda way too much coffee. If you've seen pandas, they never move like they've had coffee. So it just would look weird. Now we've got the soft lead. We've got a lot darker right around that edge. I'm going to go ahead and push a bit harder. Not too hard. I don't want to break the lead. And then I can take the white. We can get a few little hairs in here. Just the hint. See how I don't want to go too crazy with that. Okay, that looks pretty good. Get that dark a little bit darker. Something else you can do if you need to make a small area a little bit more defined is take a brush with water. I'm using, this is, well, let's see if I have a decent water brush. I might not have one. Yeah, this one will work. I'm using a water brush. And I don't want too much water on there. Stab some of that off. I can add a little bit of water with the paintbrush, and this is going to make that line that much more crisp. Now it's small, so you can't really see it, but it just makes things a little bit more clean. So if you want that harsher edge, take a small brush like, let's see, I know I've got some over here, like a liner brush. You can take this with water and just line some of those areas that you want to be a little bit more crisp, which for me would typically be just around the eye. Everything else I want softer. And that with charcoal will make a beautiful, like really crisp line. Okay, so now I am going to move out from there. I think I'm going to start up here with the ear and just kind of work my way into this area. Well, do I want to do that? Yes, I do want to do that. So I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to come up here. I'm going to use the soft, or the extra soft. We don't have a ton of detail here, but we do have that fluff. So I'm going to map that out first. And I'm going to take the white. So I'm looking at my reference photo. When I drew this out, I wasn't even paying attention. That actually would be rounded off. The reason that that goes down is there's a branch in front. So we'll just pull that right on up. And this is pretty soft. I'm not going to worry about the individual hairs. I just want to get, I'm going to actually turn this to the side. Just want to get a nice soft base white here. It's okay if that smudges into the ear a bit. I'm going to pull this right over here. I think that'll be my stop point for this section. So that's the focus for now. Is just going to be right in through here and that ear. So let's go ahead and smudge that out. And typically when I use one of these, I've got one area I'm keeping for my white pencil and one that I focus on for the dark. But I can also wipe it on a paper towel, which I've got down here, and get even more off if I need to. But I want to smudge that out. And I'm leaving the background gray of the paper showing through, so I want to be careful not to make a bunch of smudging marks all over that. Okay, now I can come through. I will use the hard pencil for very lightly building up the little texture of fur. I mean, I am barely touching there. Notice my pencil is pretty sharp, but also the really big thing to notice are how I start clumping almost in rows. I don't need it exact to the photo, but I do want pretty close. So it's going in the right direction and building in these clumps. So this area is where that like little cheek sideburn thing goes. So we'll focus there. Now when I smudge this, I have to be very careful. If I do decide that that needs to be toned down, I don't want to completely smudge go crazy. Now luckily, because this is the harder pencil, it's not going to smudge too badly either way, but I still want to be careful not to make too big of a mess. Notice that the fur changes directions. That is such an important thing. You don't want to start making a line going, okay, it looks really good when I make this sort of brush stroke or pencil stroke, so I'm going to do the same going at that same direction over here. It will instantly, your work looks completely flat. The fur determines, in the direction that that fur is moving, determines the underlying bone and muscular structure, and it makes it look more three-dimensional. You keep doing the same pencil stroke. It didn't matter if these were perfect. You keep doing those ones up here. It's no longer perfect. It's just flat. So I've got to switch directions that I'm moving as I come around. Now, on that reference photo, part is blocked by the branch, but we know that that would curve around. I'm just going to get the hint. I'll actually soften a lot of these out. Okay, I'm going to leave that for right now. I'm going to come in and do the ear. So we've got, I'm switched over to the soft, the extra soft. Every time I say soft, know that I mean extra soft, because this is the only two that I'm using tonight. So let's focus around the darker area. And now I'm going to smudge that. If you're working on a bigger piece, charcoal powder is wonderful. I've got some here. It's, you can see it's not really in focus, but this stuff is great. It works really well to be applied with pan pastel, or with the soft tools that I use with pan pastels. Really smudges things out nicely. This piece is small enough. It's not really needed. Like using the pencil by itself goes fast enough. And we've got a soft transition right here behind the ear. So I'm going to smudge that out. You're going to be using these smudging tools or the blending tools for a lot of your shading. See, then I want to use this here just a little, not pushing super hard. And the soft one again, let's fill in a little bit more. Now that I've got that blocked in, it's time to start doing some of the details. So the hairs that are sticking out, I'll pull some, actually that's the wrong one. I need the hard lead there so that it stays smaller and doesn't smudge too much. So we've got these little hairs that are sticking up. And they just fan out. These ones start to curve up this direction, so it does switch there. And I'm going to use the white charcoal pencil and start layering these over this area. Now right now this is all pretty white. This area is actually going to have to be shaded to be a little bit darker in just a moment. Okay, and I'm going to leave that. We're going to, actually I'm going to pull a little bit of white coming the opposite direction in. I will also now come back through here and start whitening some of this up. I want that nice contrast there. So we'll brighten that up. I'm pushing a bit harder. Okay. Let's see, coming down, which area do I want to move on to next? I'm going to just move on to his head over here. Now that's not to say anything I just did is 100% finished. I'll probably do a couple of touch-ups. I'm going to switch over to the soft again so I can smudge out. And I'm going to start just in that center that's really dark. Then I'm going to switch over to the hard. We'll let some of these fade into that background, but we'll also be using some white in there as well, so that it'll look a little bit shiny. And if you are struggling with values, let's say you've been working in colored pencil or you've been working in acrylic paints, but you are just struggling with values, everything is coming out looking too cartoony, too flat, pick up some charcoals. It is the cheapest like art material out there by a long shot, I think. I mean, it is super inexpensive. Graphite's the next, and that's still a lot more than charcoal to get started. But pick up your charcoal, some charcoal, and work on some black and white pieces. Even small pieces, just quick pieces. It forces you to really pay attention to your values because you can't depend on color to separate things. You have to use values. Just a little bit of white around the edge. There we go. Okay, onto his forehead. This is really dense fur. We don't need to put in every little strand, especially anytime where you're dealing, ow, that actually hurt, hit my elbow on my easel. Anytime you are working on a really fluffy animal, a cat, something that has like a Pomeranian, that super fuzzy fluff, don't try to put in every individual fur. You're gonna have tufts of fur, sections of it, but not those individual strands. It won't look soft if you do. We've got a few that we'll have sticking out, but we're not going to go crazy. Then we've got a shadow right in here. It's going to break up that clump of fur. Then we've got another one right by his ear. So I'm just shading with the shading tool. I'm not even having to put graphite down, or charcoal down there. And then we've got another one here. Ow, I am just hitting this easel must be at the exact wrong height for me because, oh my gosh, that's twice now, it's the same spot. Why do you always have to hit the same spot when you hurt yourself? Okay, I want to do the same thing. I want to get some shading right through here. So I'm just using what is left on that shading tool. And we also have a decent amount of shading in through here. I'm looking behind where the white is going to be. So I've got to get the shadow in. And that's going to need to be a decent amount darker. So I'm going to take the soft pencil. Well, actually, I'm not going to worry about that just yet because that gets into some crazy detail. We'll just do a little bit here. There we go. And then we've, again, got the shading here. This is with a hard pencil because this is more defined. And I'm going to switch over to the soft. I just wanted that there, right where I had that clean edge. But then where I'm going to soften it out. See, now I'm going pretty quick because I'm just kind of mapping out where stuff goes. And then I'm going to start going back and doing my detail. And then I'm just going to use this to shade that mid-tone. Okay, that gives me a good place to go back to the white now. Yeah, Rolanda asked if I'll ever open up bidding for outside the US. Yeah, I want to. I have to figure out how. I actually don't even know how because it's not something I normally do. Shipping overseas has been an ongoing problem with stuff not, actually lately everything's gotten there. The last couple of years I have not had problems other than it just taking forever. You guys understand that things are going to take forever. I mean, not take forever anyway, but overseas, oh my gosh, it just gets held up. I've had so much stuff held up in customs and it always ended up getting there, but yeah, it's just, it's not fun. So that's why I haven't been doing it, but I haven't even seen how I would do that with WooCommerce, which is what I use on my website. I'm going to have to look into that because I want to, but I need to figure it out. So in the meantime, if you're in the US or outside of the US and you want to bid, just if you've got a friend who lives in the US that you can use their address, I can ship it to them and then they can ship it to you. That's as close as I've gotten to figuring out a solution, and it's not the perfect solution, obviously. Now, right now, those lines are a bit too harsh. We're going to soften that in a bit. I'm still mapping out where are my general lights and darks. I'm going to start building up some of the texture in here. Let's actually sharpen that pencil. And grab some tea. Don't mind me. Oh, we have let me move the tea. As soon as I move the tea back closer to where the dogs could drool, and I checked, and there's the, okay, I can't say it out loud. Oh, and you guys are in the dark. Hold on, let me fix this. As it got dark outside, it got super dark in here. Oh, that's the wrong one. That is not what I meant to do. Crap. What were you at? Now I need to check this one too. Hold on. I think I just went way too light on that. A little bit darker, right around there. Okay, you save. Let me switch cameras to fix the boys. Nah, stay. Oh, crap, Thunder. No, stay. Down. He's getting up because he's scared. If that keeps going, if it gets too bad, I'll have to put him in his crate because he starts to panic. Although he's been doing good lately with noise, so maybe we'll be okay. Okay, well, just especially because of the scare, you guys definitely deserve. You want a super chat? Okay, thank you, Kristen. Okay, boys. Say, plus it's scary because there's thunder. Thunder scares the bad cow very badly. Thunder and light and yes, good boys, and fireworks. He's getting better. Okay, go lay down. Go lay down. One of the things that I've taught them, and this won't work for all dogs, it depends on how severe the panic is with the noise. Every time he hears thunder or fireworks, I've taught him to run to me and he gets a treat. So he may get a few bonus if it gets too bad, but I mainly try to get him to stay laying down so I don't have to put him in his crate. Okay, go lay down. 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 Wade, down. He's like, but there was thunder. I'm supposed to get to do what I want when there's thunder. Thank you again, Kristen. The bad cow definitely thanks you. Well, I'm sure Gibson does too. Okay. It's weird to hear thunder here. It doesn't rain in Texas anymore. So back to building up the little bits of hair now that that pencil is sharp. And now here, the fur is a little bit longer, so I've got to watch that. And actually, I need to make this a little darker so that these hairs with the white will show up more. And while I'm at it, I may as well, oh, let me make sure, did I miss? Oh, is it Kirsten? I think that it is. I think it's Kirsten. I can't read. I'm sorry. Thank you, Nick. So we're going to come and I'm going to block in, oops, wrong one. I'm going to use the soft pencil. I'm going to block in here so that I can load. I'm basically going to use this area now as scratch paper because it's mostly super dark. And I want to be able to lift shadows off of it to shade some of the other areas. It's the only reason I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Okay, I'm just gonna scribble that in there. I need to sharpen this pencil though. I just burned through that really quick. That's the other thing with the softer leads. You will burn through them so much faster. Or just keep breaking it. That may end up being a problem with the soft lead. Oh yeah, that actually makes sense because I haven't used the soft lead tonight. I'm gonna switch to razor blade and hopefully not cut myself on camera. I'm not allowed to play with sharp things. And I'm just kind of shaving away, and I broke it even with this. It's also possible that this one has just broken in the past from being dropped. The joys of charcoal. Okay, yeah, this one is just completely, everything I do is breaking. This one probably did get dropped at some point. Let's try again with sharpening this way. Sorry about the delay here. I'm getting charcoal all over myself, which will end up all over the art. So. for this, it might almost be worth grabbing a charcoal stick. Okay, I think I've got enough, hopefully. It's gonna have to work. Okay. I'll darken that up again later, but what I can do now, I'm going to go ahead and blend with this, and this is going to allow me now to use this like I would scratch paper where I scribble and then just load this brush up. Oh, we have another, oh, looks, we actually got two. Oh, thank you, D-Lynn Creative Arts sent, and I'm going to use that. She said, for the future Thunder Treats. And she sent two. I'll give it a couple minutes if there's more thunder. If not, we're just going to go ahead and give them. Yeah, okay, so somebody's talking about microwaving your colored pencils. Do not recommend, because some of those pencils have metallic writing on it, and you could cause it. You don't put metal in a microwave. They have like a gold, a foily tape. Just, it's not a good idea. If you want to heat your pencils, your colored pencils, so let me back up for a second and explain this. Prismacolors, they're wax-based. They also break like crazy because of poor, hold on, did I need this one? No. Because of poor quality control issues, Prismacolors just are prone to breaking. So people have come up with all kinds of tricks to try to get them to work. My first thing is I should not have to jump through hoops to get my supplies to work. So I don't really play all of those Prismacolor games. I've done it out of desperation when you're trying to work on something, and that was the only pencil I had at the time. But anyway, it had gotten so bad with that, I'm like, I didn't even want to work in colored pencil anymore because I was so sick of dealing with like constantly having to waste time when I wanted to do art, but I was constantly trying to fix my Prismacolors. But one of the things was to heat them up. It'll remelt the wax, and so if it's broken throughout, you can remelt them and fix them that way. I do not recommend the microwave, because if there is that metal piece on, I don't have any pencils up here, but a lot of the pencils, and I don't know if Prisma still does, but I know before they had that metallic writing. That's questionable. I don't know what that's made out of. So the overall consensus was kind of don't put it in the microwave, put it in the oven. And I don't even remember what temperature it was anymore, but you could reheat them so they would melt and you could use them again. The problem is the reason that most of the time that they're breaking is from the quality control issues. So like the pencil themselves, instead of being perfectly straight, was slightly warped. So you'd sharpen it and that was what was causing it to snap, or the lead not being centered. So every time you sharpened it, it rebroke anyway. It's like, okay, you fixed it just so you could re-break it, but it is something that you can do. But I would be hesitant to use the microwave. I say that as somebody who did it and didn't have any problems, but also I'm paranoid, so I don't know if that's really safe. I'm not going to recommend it, but the oven was a safer way to go, but it was kind of the same thing. You still had to sit there and watch it, that it didn't just like get too hot. Okay, back to work. I'm just going to pull that up a little bit so that I can then come back through, and I'm going to use this to shade these softer areas so that when I come through with the white will show up better. Okay, now this part will go through pretty quickly. Just watch your photo. Which direction is that fur moving in? See, we've got clumps in here too, and I'm going to come back through with that hard lead and define the darker bits as well in between some of what I'm adding. This starts to get longer in here, and we still have these sort of rows of clumps. It's not just random confetti lines everywhere. They clump and cluster together. It's the same thing. Let's say you're drawing grass. That would be little clumps and clusters of it, and it kind of moves in rows if you're doing a whole landscape. But you don't want to just, it's not just add all the lines. Adding all the lines will look terrible. I'm even going to get a little bit in here, a little bit darker. It doesn't need to be exact to the photo. You just go for close, about the right direction, about the right length. And see, even here, it's getting a little bit too scraggly looking. In order to look soft, I've got to fill that in a little bit more, define those clumps better. And this will start, actually, before that layers, I do want to get this a lot darker. This whole area gets really dark. And I need that to be dark first before the white goes over it. And I need a bit more of that soft lead. Probably shouldn't bother with trying to sharpen it with a sharpener, so we'll try to do this right with the razor blade again, or X-Acto knife. There we go. So this is all pretty solid. Now, a huge warning that may seem obvious, but apparently isn't. You can see how I keep blowing to get the dust away. Oh, there was thunder. Let's go ahead and take advantage of that. You want a super chat? You get a super chat for the thunder because you needed one anyway. So this was from D-Lynn Creative Arts. There you go. Thank you. That's very tasty. I know, scary thunder, huh? You get treats. Yeah. Okay, go lay down. 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 You too. Go lay down. You're not even afraid of thunder. Go lay down. Good boy. All the way. Boys, down. I apologize for yelling. That's the way you get a sight hound to listen. Otherwise, they just kind of do their own thing. Oh, I like how this panda is coming back now that I switched over. Stop looking at him for a couple seconds. Okay. So thank you again for the super chat. I didn't say it like that. Okay. So now I can layer this white. I'm going to push a little bit harder where I really want it to show up. Is that rain? I think it's actually raining. It hasn't rained in Texas in forever. Now you can see the importance of getting that black in there first so that the white could layer over. I'm not going to worry about the chin. That's a whole other drama. Let's wait on that a little bit here. Just start working our way out. And see how this switches directions. This is more solid as we get in here because that fur is so dense. We'll have the hint of fur, but mostly big clumps. And this is all going to be in shadow, so we'll smudge a lot of that out. I just need a little bit to stick out over that edge. Again, really dense in here, more solid. I'm going to fill in more solid up and through here as well. It's also a lot brighter, a lot more white, so I'm going to go ahead and soften that. I'm going to switch to the other side of the blending tool so I can smudge the black right into those lighter areas right here. And these guys are, this bit of fur is super dense and it's aimed at the viewer, so it's almost more clumps of dots than lines. That is a big deal in creating the different texture of fur there. See, it's kind of squiggles and just clumps of dots. That is rain. Wow, weird. Sharpen this pencil a bit now. Yep, this is just a regular blending stump. Got the little hairs that start coming out around here. I want to pay attention to the direction there again. Tiny little clumps. When you're creating the look of fur, that is such, it's that texture. So it's the values, but it's also the texture that we're creating. There's not just one way to do this. It's not like I figured out the perfect pencil stroke and now I just repeat that. No, there's a whole bunch of different. You want to pay attention to your reference photo, get a good reference photo. That's super important. But pay attention to all of that little texture in there. Like here is totally different than here. And it's more obvious now why I needed that dark behind this so that the white would really show up. Got some more clumps, and it gets a little bit more solid up in there. Little sideburns. Again, these little dots. I'm just going to build that a bit more. Right now it looks a little too matted, so I need to fill that in more. I still need the dots, but a little bit more, like less of the black peeking through all over. And then we've got this area. Pretty light. And I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to wait and do that last. So I'm not going to start moving that way just yet. I'll start pushing a lot harder where I want that to be really white. Okay, as we move through here, same thing. We've got to watch the direction of this fur. I need this pencil a bit sharper again. Or I could break it. Oh, lovely. Come on. Try the other sharpener. These white pencils don't usually break too badly. Not like the softer the lead or the charcoal, the more likely that is to break. There we go. Watch that direction. And this needs to actually come up a little bit higher than what I've got. One of the other things that I really like with charcoal is that it is such a forgiving medium. If you have something happen and you just hate that area, you can generally erase it pretty well and then go back over it without having to start over. Very easy to fix mistakes. Okay, so we need to start getting some of these dark areas in, just like the other areas. Oh, this was what I was going for. It may seem very obvious, but make sure when you blow on the work, obviously don't use your hand because that's just going to smudge everything. Don't be eating. If you've been eating or drinking anything and you blow on that and you get spit on that, and I had a student do that. She'd been eating in and out in the class, and because I let people have snacks, but she should have known better. She'd been with me long enough. She knew the risk there. But yeah, she blew on her work and spit, and it left a grease mark. And that was not something we could, I mean, you just work with it. That's just what it is now. So be careful. You don't need to be eating at the easel. The alternative, to be very safe, there's, oh, I don't know where it is. I have one. It's called the Rocket or something like that. But you squeeze it. Mine's over here somewhere. You squeeze it and it blows everything off without having to actually blow and potentially spit on the work. So that thing's pretty cool. So we've got shadows right around the nose. Let's put that in. And then let's see, let's block in the actual nose. Okay, let's see, there's that. And this shadow then comes this way. You see how I just keep continuously looking at that reference photo. I'm not pushing hard with this pencil. This is the hard lead. Now for the really dark areas. Let's see, you came in, you are here for the mouth. Just got little lines in there. So that gives us our really dark areas. Now I'm going to use the shading tool, smudge that out. He's got a little bit of his mouth on the other side of the nose there, so come around there. I'm just going to use this to lift some more of the black, and then I can shade just in through here. Now we can go in with the white. Again, watch the direction. Another thing that I see people do that makes things all go sideways is just start, they don't look at the photo, they just start randomly putting those lines, those confetti lines I was talking about. You can't just start putting in lines because you're like, my brain knows what fur looks like, just put more lines. You created a zombie. It won't look right. To create that texture, you've got to look at it at the softness, the clumps and the clusters, like right here. See how it's more soft, more filled in solid. Now we get into some of these little guys. A little bit of the black show through, but I'll also come through with the black charcoal and fill that in more too. And this curves around. See, I'm getting the hint of fur, but I'm not trying to get every strand in there. If you want to do every strand, you need to be working really large to make that look very good. Otherwise, it ends up looking like Zombie Panda. Cutest zombie ever, but probably not what you're going for. That completely changes directions, and I have to sit in an odd angle to get my arm to want to move that way. The obvious solution to that would be to turn your artwork to the side. But being that I'm on camera, it's easier if I just turn all of me to the side. And this whole area gets darker, so I'm going to do it dark and or with the white, and then I'm going to come back through with that pencil. This one is the hard lead, and fill some of that in. Same thing in here. And then this pencil needs to be sharpened again. Oh yeah, that sharpener. See how the sharpener is eating? Oh, that's not really in focus. Can you kind of see? I don't know if that's showing here. Let me see if I can get you to see it. If I go up close, it always it blurs the way that camera's set. No, that doesn't work. This is here. It's fraying. It's eating at the pencil like really bad. That sharpener, that right there tells you that sharpener is not sharp enough, and that is why it's breaking my lead. And that would be the case even if I was working in colored pencil right now. If it's fraying the wood, that's an issue with the blade is too dull. Now this area, where's the hard lead? This is largely in shadow, so I'm going to go back over it with the hard to break that up. And the fur is a bit longer right there, and then it shortens up as it curves back this direction. So now we're pretty much at the stage where we just start jumping around a bit more and perfecting everything. Everything is pretty much blocked in. So now I'm just going to break things up that need to be broken up or softened up or whatever it is. I'm going to use the hard lead for a lot of this. He's got a little eyelash there. You've got some whiskers coming out here. I don't like how long that is. I'm just going to shorten that up. See, easy fix. And anywhere where I want it to be a little bit darker, you can come through with that pencil now. We are almost done with this guy. Just a few little touch-ups. I want to soften a lot of this out, so I'll just lightly go kind of in little ovals or circles. So it's not getting rid of my brush marks, it is softening them a lot though. I'm pushing pretty hard with that. He is about done. Again, you can bid on him. The link is in the video description if you want to own this little guy. He will come matted. He's a 5x7, so he comes already matted, ready to fit into an 8x10 frame of your choice. Not included. Mat is included, not the frame. Some little defined, oops, let's use this one. Bits of fur sticking out here. There we go. There is the finished panda. Now a couple of tips. When I remove the tape that is around here, I am not just going to rip it off as it is because there is way too likely to rip the paper, especially Canson MeTens. So what I will do is take a hairdryer and heat the tape and then slowly rip it. And when I slowly pull it off, I will pull it away from the artwork, not towards the artwork. But heating it with a hairdryer first will help loosen that up so that you don't risk, you're not as likely to risk ripping your paper. But always, when you remove tape, pull it away from the art, not towards it. So if it does rip, it's not ripping into the art. But if you're using the hairdryer, not as likely to be an issue anyway. Okay. And yeah, he's at a slightly odd angle just because of the camera, but that gives you, let's see if you can see a bit over here. There he is. And when he's matted, on this one you can see better. Where's that mat? I just had it a little while ago. And then I promptly lost it. Hold on. Where did it go? It was not that long ago I had it. Like I made sure I even had a black one in here. Probably when I was looking for the transfer paper, I lost it. It amazes me how much I can lose in here, like without ever standing. Oh, there it is. Okay, here we go. And I need to sign him still too. Move, chair, I'm stuck on the carpet. Hold on, there we go. So well, what, wrong side. About like that is what he will look like. Oop, matted. Nope, not quite like that. More like that. There we go. So he will come in that cute little mat. That is the finished panda. Oh, he's adorable. I love him. And then I will mist him lightly with Spectrafix to seal all of that down before I frame him and mat him and all that. Or mat him, whatever. Okay. So we'll go on to your questions. Now, I want to stress the importance of a good reference photo, too. Someone sent me a message earlier asking for tips on drawing a black lab, and I asked them to send me the photo so I could look at it to give tips from that I was going to share tonight. And I'm not going to because the photo was not good, and that was kind of my main complaint. My main tip to her was, you need to find a different photo. That photo is just, it is not... Not all photos are created equally. What makes for a cute photo does not always make for good artwork. And like in this case, the artwork would have looked wrong no matter what she did. The lighting was very wonky, the way it was hitting part of the dog's face and then not other part. It would make the dog look deformed. And if you're newer, especially if you're newer enough, you're asking somebody, how do I do this? You need a good photo. Start with the best photo you can find. We have Pixabay and Unsplash now. Those are free, royalty-free reference photos. Take advantage of those. So let's say in the case of like a black lab, common breed, there are so many photos. Even if you had one photo, now that photo, there's nothing, like the angle was wonky too, like it wasn't going to work all the way around. I would not personally choose to use that at all. But let's say I have a photo and the angle's okay, but I can't see the detail, the lighting's not good. Go find a photo of a good, like really good photo and use that in combination. But even that, I don't recommend doing until you've done multiple portraits where you've worked from the good photo in the first place. This is how we learn to make things accurate. Like let's say even with getting into surrealism or fantasy type art where you're combining multiple photos together to get one image. I would recommend starting, learn how to paint a flamingo first before you start painting the fantasy flamingo. Learn how to get a good, realistic photo. It's kind of funny because it's one of the things people always ask is, or what's the point of photorealism? You can just take a photo and it already exists, whatever, there's already a photo. Even if you believed that, which I don't, I think that there's a lot of reasons that you would copy a photo, but you still have to copy it to learn to do it accurately so that you can eventually do the more fantasy or the more surreal stuff. You've got to learn from a good photo in the first place. And so in the case like what I was talking about with this lab, if you're not in a place, if you're not super advanced already, don't try to work from a crap photo. I can at this point take a crappy photo and make it okay, but I'd still want the best photo I can find. It's going to make a big difference in the end result of your work. And I've talked about this, I've told this story before, so I apologize to those of you who have heard it. But years ago, Italian Greyhound Forum I was on. There were several portrait artists, and there was one girl who she was in college. She was kind of doing portraits here and there. There was a photographer who had posted a beautiful photo of her dog. He was sitting in front of the fire. He was like, just everything about this, the depth, everything was gorgeous, but she was a photographer who took the photo. So the one girl drew it in colored pencil, and it was phenomenal. Well, then all of a sudden everyone wants her to do their dog. So one of my friends hired her, paid her money, and she did it in acrylics. I don't know why she okayed a different medium, but okay. Like, if you liked her colored pencil, why did you hire her to do something that you've never seen her do before? But yeah. And the photo she provided was the photos the dogs were in the dark across the room on the couch. So she gets the artwork, it's done, and she shows it to her. My friend sends it to me, and she's like, should I accept this? This is horrible. I thought I was going to get like the first one, the colored pencil one that was so good. I thought I was going to get that quality. I'm like, well, what photo did you show her? She showed me. I'm like, that artist never should have accepted that photo. The photo you work from will make all the difference in the world. It was the same artist, and you would never guess it just based on that photo alone. Pick a good reference photo. So, and then my next story that I'm pretty excited about is with the reference photos coming up on Patreon. So a couple of announcements for Patreon. I mentioned this earlier a couple months ago. I'm going to be raising the prices for Patreon. So like the $4 tier is going to be $6. But if you're already a member, that price, you stay at $4. Your price will not go up at any point. I don't even think, hold on, itchy eye. I don't even think it's possible for me to raise your price, which doesn't matter. It's not going up. You are locked in at whatever price. When the prices are going to go up October 1st. So really it'll probably be like the end of September. But when those prices go up, you are locked in at that tier at that price. If you ever change tiers, it would go to the new one. So whatever price you want to be locked in at, make sure you're that before the end of September, because those prices are going to be going up. So, but I don't want anyone who's already a member to be afraid, thinking, oh no, she's raising our prices. I'm not. You guys are locked in. If you were a member already, your price is not going up. It's only going to be for new people. I've not raised my prices since 2014. So it's long overdue because everything got more expensive. Moving on, the next, and what was my other announcement? Oh, I have so many exciting things planned for Patreon coming up. I put this in the email newsletter, but some of you over patrons helped me to choose a bunch of projects, a bunch of lessons coming up. We've got a links that's going to be, I think that one was going to be pan pastels and colored pencil. I went shopping on wildlifereferencephotos.com. So many good photos. I've got let's see, I'm working on cuttlefish. I'll be done with that one this week. I've got, what else did I buy? A barn owl that's going to be, I think, in acrylics or oils. I got another little owl that's going to be an oil painting. I got a puffin that's going to be an oil pastel. I'm super excited to do that one. I got, what else was there? A bull, I think it was a Highland cow. It's black and white, so I'm going to do that in graphite. I don't know if I'm going to do water-soluble graphite or regular graphite yet. I've got to figure that out, but that's coming. Lots of really cool wildlife work. I'm also going to be doing more surreal work. I've not been doing that much surreal stuff lately, so I want to start mixing some of that in again. So that is what is coming up on Patreon. I'm so excited to get started on all of these. I've got to finish, you guys can't see it right now, but behind me I've got my marine piece I'm working on. I started the cuttlefish, so those will hopefully, I'm hoping to finish that this week. We'll see. Okay. On to your questions. Brittany said, have you ever tried the Derwent tinted charcoal pencils? I think I had the extra large blocks, but I never used them. So what did I use from them? Maybe I did. Is it the graphite tints? I've done those. No, that's tinted pencil. So no, I don't think I did. I think I have some here. Alice said, what social media platforms do you recommend for artists currently? Did you try Threads? Do we need to be on everything? I used to be big on DeviantArt, but not anymore. DeviantArt is kind of pointless. That's been pointless for a while. It's kind of like, what was that other one that was really popular? It was more of a blog thing. It's so long gone, I don't even remember the name of it anymore. It was ridiculous teenagers mainly. Threads was dead in the water before it got started. Threads was not going to ever happen. The problem with Threads was people would join it and then it was just instant nonstop ads. You were seeing so much content from people you weren't interested in because they wanted to, I guess they were trying to do the opposite of what new platforms have, where everyone joined, like a few people join and it's like, it's boring because there's not a lot happening yet. And so I guess Zuckerberg was like, well, we'll just show them a bunch of ads and things that they're not interested in. And I think they've already lost like 50% of their users. So I don't see Threads going anywhere seriously. Instagram is probably one of the better ones. I want to see MeWe. Like, I really want it to be MeWe because MeWe is probably, I think it's the best platform out there. It is chronological order. There are no ads. You see who you follow. It's amazing. The problem is we can't get enough people using it. I still use it. I think it's amazing. It is my favorite platform. But getting enough people to use it is always a challenge. The thing is, if I post something on Facebook, I might get 1,000 people seeing it, even though I have, not even 1,000, but let's say I get 1,000, which I won't, out of 33,000 who follow me. If I post on MeWe, I have 1,000 following me, 1,000 are going to see it. So there's I mean, it's like Facebook is pretty pointless at this point. I am running ads on Facebook right now. I'm going to test that. I won't use Facebook as a user, but they still have a lot of users, unfortunately. So I am currently running ads with them I'm starting that to see if I can get some traffic, because YouTube was always my answer for artists. And it still is to an extent. You still are going to get views. YouTube's search feature is absolutely broken. I can type in, I was doing research this week on titles and stuff, and I type in acrylic painting, and you get stuff for colored pencils. You get stuff for cars. You get stuff that you weren't searching for or interested in, because YouTube's like, no, we're going to suggest things that we think you're going to want to watch. And it's like, but that's not what I'm looking for right now. Like, even, I watch a lot of political content. Even if I watch political content earlier in the day, I'm not interested in it when I type in acrylic paintings. I want to see acrylic paintings. If I wanted the political crap, I'd type that in. Like, what are you doing? So Facebook or YouTube has gotten really hard to be discovered. Facebook's pointless, honestly. Instagram is probably, at this point, I would say about our best bet, and it's your best bet if you're doing Reels. Facebook Reels are going to do better than your your Instagram Reels are going to do better than your Instagram photos in most cases. So learning to do Reels is really good. YouTube, if you're going to do YouTube, they say do shorts and long form content, but YouTube's search feature, I don't even know the answer. I mean, it's so broken at this point. It's just a matter of, are they going to suggest you to people? Maybe you'll get suggested, maybe you won't. Obviously, doing the better content, good thumbnails, good titles, all of that. But even so, I mean, I was looking at a girl, when I was doing the search, I came across a girl. Her thumbnails are exactly what they say not to do. Like, they were terrible it was basically, her channel is pretty much now if it was 2014. Content from 2014 doesn't perform well. The time lapse, there was like clown music. It was weird. No one in the world likes clown music. It was really weird. And the editing, like, everything about it was what they say doesn't work. She's doing fine. I don't know. So even though, if you go through what YouTube's like, this will perform well or this one won't, and you look at the results and it's like, yeah, you say that, but the actual what I'm seeing on your platform is not what you're showing me. So I don't know anymore. Felt like I used to have a good grasp on this, but I don't know. Even on Instagram, it is very hard to get found. Your best bet are on Reels. TikTok, a lot of people do pretty well on being found on TikTok, so that might be an option. And the nice thing is, if you're doing TikTok type content, it's same as Instagram Reels, you can post to both platforms. So that would be it. I would not try to be on every single platform. It's too time consuming. And in order to do well, let's say if I want to really do well on Instagram, the content I post to Instagram is not the same content I'm going to post to YouTube. It is not the same content I'm going to post to MeWe, because what does well on one, like, it has to be almost crafted specifically for that platform. No one has time to create art and really craft for each platform. Like, let's say Twitter, for example, or X. What a stupid marketing change. But that, I'm still calling it Twitter. That platform, what I post on Instagram is not going to do well over there. Actually, I don't even think Twitter is great in any case, for artists. It's not really a good platform for that. But yeah, I wouldn't waste my time there. I mean, I do sometimes post over there and reshare cool photos, but I don't really take anything on Twitter seriously. Whereas Instagram, I would say for me, Instagram, MeWe, and YouTube are my main go-tos that I'm focused on. But I would say pick a couple that you like, that you're using regularly, and focus on those. So I think the best options, again, would be YouTube, not Twitch. I actually don't think Twitch is good at all. YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And TikTok's a little iffy because there's been some weird legal stuff, and I don't know how that's going to go long term. So I'm not sure there, but at least if you made something for TikTok, you can upload that to Instagram as well. So, use double use there. Let me grab some more tea. Okay. Next. Jade, so if we don't sharpen the tortillon, I can never say that, paper stump or sandpaper, how do you clean them when grubby and you want to use another color? What other color? I mean, what are you using them for generally? Graphite, there's no color, it's graphite. Or charcoal, there's no color, it's charcoal. Maybe pan pastels, but I don't like them for pan pastels. It knocks too much of the product off the paper. If you're using regular pastels, now I'm not a pastel artist. If you are interested in pastels, definitely check out my friend Jason Morgan. He's amazing. I'd ask him what he uses. But for the most part, you can take a old t-shirt, a cloth. I've got a Beaver paper towel. Just wipe it off. Done. That is all you need. That is clean enough. I'm not sure what Jason does for blending his pan pastels, or not pan pastels, his soft pastels. You would have to, I would head over and check out his content, what he's doing there. But yeah, just wiping these off on your paper towel, that's plenty. But again, I'm not using them for anything with color. I don't use them for colored pencil at all. I don't use, I mean, it's charcoal for me. Charcoal or graphite is it. So they don't need to be that clean. Wiping them off should be enough. Actually, don't want mine clean. Let's see. Brittany said, I highly recommend the Dahl 133 hand crank sharpener that can be set as dull or as pointy as your pencils can be. It has auto stop feature to keep pencils from being eaten up. Nice. That is something I may look into. Ghostwriter said, can you mix graphite and charcoal? You can. I don't like how it looks. I've done it. It looks okay in photograph, but in person, the charcoal is going to be very, very matte, whereas the graphite has even if you're really careful not to get super glossy with the graphite, there's always a little bit of a sheen, so you can really tell you use two different colors or two different mediums, and I don't love the look. So I'm not a fan of mixing those two myself. So can you do it? Yes. Is it archival? Yes. Does it look good? Not in my opinion. Let's see. Is all charcoal light fast? Yes. When the pigment is added, such as Derwent tinted charcoal, does the light fast become questionable? Well, yeah, because it would depend on what the tinted charcoal is tinted with. Not all pigments are going to be light fast, and I don't know. Theirs might all be light fast. I have no idea on the Derwent, but like black charcoal, all light fast, no problem. Python said, I heard that Winsor & Newton's quality has dropped, like their oils decreasing in light fast and their Cotman watercolors being private labeled by Phoenix in China. Can you talk a bit about it? I actually don't know anything about that, but it doesn't surprise me. A lot of companies are, in order to not raise their price because inflation has hit so heavy, in order to not raise prices, a lot of companies are cheaping out on materials. And I am seeing this on everything from clothing to, I mean, just everything. So not on the supplies I've used so far. I've not had to buy new oil paint in a long time. I'm glad you mentioned that because I will certainly be checking light fast ratings on those tubes if they are cheaping out on that. That is really unfortunate and it will hurt them in the long run. Because in Winsor & Newton especially, the only reason I think Winsor & Newton Liquitex, the main reasons that a lot of people buy them is that is one brand that is available still in Hobby Lobby and Michael's and those types of art stores. Everything else, if I want something else, I have to buy it online. There's nowhere local to buy the other stuff. Well, those same companies, Hobby Lobby and Michael's, they are working out or transitioning out their name brand stuff for their generic crap. I wanted to say the other word, but it's in their generic crap is crap. So it's kind of interesting if Winsor & Newton and them are trying to, maybe they're doing it to try to compete against the generic, but it's going to suck for them because and this is just my theory. I don't know for sure, but my theory is they start getting a bad reputation for quality. If I have to buy online, like me buying for them right now is the convenience if I can go into Michael's and get them. But if Michael's transitions that out, and I would have to buy them online, I would buy Grumbacher instead, or I would buy a different brand instead, so that I like better, that's a softer paint. So yeah, that sounds like a bad choice on their part. That's interesting though. I definitely would be interested in more information on that, but it doesn't surprise me. And a lot of companies, I mean, we see this with aquariums. Aquarium brands that I like are starting to cheap out and having their stuff made in random places in China. Now, some are still getting quality out of China, but a lot of them are not doing the research well enough. There's a tank company called Red Sea, and people are buying these hundreds of gallons of tanks. That front panel of the tank, after usually a couple of years, breaks open. You now have hundreds of gallons. You've ruined your floor, you've ruined your house, and your tank and all your coral and fish are gone. Because they cheaped out on the design. And it's not just because they're having theirs made in China, it is being mass produced in China, but the other thing is their design is bad. Like their stand is not, like, you should have, the tank should be resting on the stand. Well, they did this floating thing, so the tank is over here, and the stand, like, there's a gap. Because that's just the door, there's no rest. So that front panel, and it's always the front panel that blows on those tanks. So it is definitely an issue of the whole design feature. But that company, I would never buy from at this point, anything from them. When I see their customer service, the way they've handled that, if the tank is like less than 5 years old, they'll replace it, or less than 3 years old. I forget what the rating is, but when you're talking about a tank where somebody has spent, let's say, $20,000 on the setup, the coral, the fish, minimum $20,000, like, to get all of that stuff in there, and they lose all that livestock, you replacing the tank doesn't fix the floors that got damaged, doesn't fix the loss of the livestock. It's a nightmare. And so the point is, that's an aquarium thing. It is happening across the board with these companies cheaping out. Well, I mean, Red Sea's been cheaped out for 5 years or 6 years. It's been a problem with them for a while. But a lot of these companies are doing this. And you combine that with inflation, and you have, like, cereal right now. You can get, the cereal boxes are the same size. The amount they're putting in the boxes is less so that they can keep the price the same, but they're not giving you as much. You don't realize there's so much stuff like that these companies are doing, so people don't realize they're not getting the same bang for their buck. We'll say that. So it doesn't surprise me, but it sucks. I hope that companies like Generals or Derwent, I just hope that they keep going with good quality and that they don't do the same thing, because wow. I mean, again, it doesn't surprise me because it's happening everywhere, but that's disappointing to hear, that's for sure. And I don't know, again, I don't know the facts, I don't know the details, I don't know if it's a rumor or if it's true, but I'd be interested in getting more information for sure. Mary said, I've been watching you for more than 7 years. You are terrific. Oh, thank you. Burnt Umber Art said, I love your videos. Sorry if this is too intrusive, but is your income primarily YouTube and Patreon or from art sales? Primarily Patreon, then YouTube. Art sales is at the bottom of the list of, like, all my income sources. I do affiliate links and stuff like that because I don't actually push art sales that much. I mean, besides, by the way, you can still bid on this. If anyone, starting bid is $55. Cute Panda. Anyway, sorry. Self-promotion there. I don't typically really push my art sale. Like, I have original paintings and I need to update my website with newer stuff too. There is not enough hours in the day. So I can't do so much with videos and push sales. It's like I kind of had to pick one and I went the video route. So yeah, primarily Patreon and YouTube for me. I mean, there's always like smaller baskets of income sources, but those are my main two. Stephanie said, have you used Brusho watercolors and can you do a live stream using them? Thanks. I think I used them. Didn't I do them with a Smart Art Box years ago? I still would have them. I don't know where they are. I think I really liked them. Like, I think that's why I remember the name, because I think I really liked them. But I don't know where they are. So I don't know when that live stream would happen. Art of Raven D said, this drawing makes me want to hug a panda, even though I shouldn't. I know, they look so fluffy. Art of Raven D also said, I used to be that dumb kid who'd bring food, then paint in class. I was also the kid who ate oil paint, finger paint, print sandwiches. Oh, Lord. That sounds not healthy. Panda is smiling. Do pandas actually have smile-shaped mouths? I don't know. That's what the reference photo has, so yes. Although I do think I want to pull a little bit more white over this that you can't see me doing right now. Just soften that up. But yeah, I mean, you can see the reference photo over on my site. Oh, I missed one from Angela Gunther said, baby cows deserve goodies and so do their mama. Oh, thank you. Thank you for I totally missed it. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Hold on. Oh, that's not the right. Where's my, oh God, I thought I closed OBS for a second. I was like, no. You boys want a super chat? I think that Gibson was already licking his lips as he ran over here. Does that, back up. Oh, this one's, hold on, you get the new ones. I'm glad I ordered this new one for you. It just came yesterday. Oh, you're going to be happy. It smells all nice and fresh. Oh, it's softer too. Very tasty. Thank you, Angela. Sorry I missed that. Oh, hack. Oh, yeah, I know. What are you choking on your food for today? Don't puke it up over here. Okay, go lay down. Down, down, down. Gibson, go lay down. Wade, lay down. Oh, got to get a big stretch. There we go. Oh, we have another from, wait, we have to wait for Gibson to lay down. Down. He knows. That dog is too smart. Do you boys want another super chat? Thank you, Rob. You get 2 of the new ones. Oh, it smells so good too, huh? Oh, so tasty. See, thank you, Rob. Oh, so good. Is that very tasty? Say so much good. Why are you two choking on your food? Oh, I've been giving them bigger pieces. Okay, go lay down. Lay down. Yeah, thank Rob and go lay down. Lay down. Good boys. Kind of. Sort of. One good. Look who's being good now. Gibson, lay down. When the bad cow is being better than you, you know you're doing bad. So cute. Oops. Okay. Let's see. On to Stacy said, how long do you let your acrylic paintings dry before you varnish them, and how many coats do you put on? So I usually let them dry at least overnight, because sometimes things will seem dry and you varnish it and it smudges and you're just screwed at that point. So I let them dry even though they feel dry at least overnight. And then I put 2 to 3 coats of varnish depending on how glossy I want. And I let it dry in between each coat for like 2 or 3 hours. Whatever, I forget what the bottle says. I think it's 3 hours. So let it dry completely in between each coat. Good question. The Bazin Art said, out of curiosity, when do we know we have done a masterpiece? Okay, well, I'm going to say the most generic, annoying thing. Art is subjective. Depends on, like, the viewer and all that stuff. What do you mean by masterpiece? I mean, something that a gallery is going to hang? A gallery has hung a banana tape to a wall and a broken toilet. So anything you created is better than that, I'm sure. It's so subjective. What I go by, what are your personal goals? Like, what art, when you go and you're looking at art, whether it be in a gallery or online, what art makes you look at it and go, that makes me excited. I want to create something that creates that feeling in me. Like, I would be so proud if I created that. So we'll call that the masterpiece, the art that you personally look at and think, man, I wish I could put my name on that. I wish I created that. And when that happens, it's just practice. I mean, and how long that's going to take depends on the individual. Some people are going to work nonstop and they're going to focus on the right things. I think that's key too. There are artists out there who have been painting for 50 years and they're kind of still terrible. They're beginners. They never moved past being beginners, and many of them are teaching here on YouTube. They never moved past being beginners because they only ever painted beginner lessons. If you want to stay a beginner forever, stick to beginner lessons. If you want to progress, you need to start doing things that challenge you, things that feel too hard, things that are gonna be ugly along the way. You are going to need to paint many, many ugly things in order to improve yourself. If you keep doing the comfortable, easy, good things that you feel are good, beginner stuff, you're never going to improve. You're not going to hit that. You're not going to reach that goal. So that's why I say it depends on the artist. It's not that one is necessarily more like gifted than the other are going to be better because of that. It's a matter of who's focusing on which, who's jumping into the deep end and working on the stuff that's hard, the stuff that's uncomfortable, the stuff that is going to look terrible along the way, and who's over here going, oh, I'm painting this Bob Ross rose, or this Bob, well, he didn't really do a lot of roses. I did see a couple, but you know, this Bob Ross landscape. You're only going to get so far doing that, and it's not very far at all. So, I mean, like, I'm not kidding. I've seen people, I remember teaching and having people come in, and they'd been painting technically longer than me, but they'd only ever painted beginner lessons they followed in books or beginner classes they had taken. I can take them so much further because I'm pushing them out of that comfort zone. I'm going to push them into that more advanced content. When you go by lessons, whether it be me, Jason Morgan, I'm trying to think of some other, there's some amazing, amazing artists. When you go by the beginner stuff, you are going to learn so much faster than those who are painting that paint and sip style of, and I'm not bashing that. It's fun. I know I used to teach one of those classes like back in 2011, 2012, 2010, right around then. Tons of fun. But it's also not going to take you very far. So it's a weird question because it's like, so there's just so many variables there. What you consider a masterpiece, what you're looking for, but really how fast you get there, how long it takes you to hit that depends on what are you spending your time doing. Are you jumping into that deep end? I don't care if you're a beginner, jump into that deep end. There's no water involved, so you're not actually going to drown. You're perfectly safe. You're just going to paint some ugly things along the way, but that is how you're going to get better. For years, we'll use this as an example. Go look up, if you do a Google search for Wyland. He paints marine life, whales and dolphins and stuff. He has beautiful lighting. He is terrible at animals. Terrible. And I actually like him. Like, I like Wyland. But his stuff is not realistic. Then look at Christian Lassen. Meth head today, yes, but back in the 90s, he was amazing, an amazing, amazing artist. I learned from copying both these artists' work. And in the beginning, because I was focused on marine life, I was copying Wyland. We didn't have the internet. I had nothing to look at. This was, again, early 90s, late 80s. You just copied from the thing for your own practice. Wasn't getting posted on the internet. There was no real copyright violation there. So I'm copying Wyland, and I wasn't getting better. Then I found Christian Lassen. I started copying Christian Lassen, aka the meth head, and his work was so amazing, pre-meth, that my work jumped. It went so much further because his content, his work, what I was copying, what I was learning from was so much more advanced. And again, I love Wyland still. So I would be the first to go buy something from Wyland. But that it made a big difference when I went from the stuff that felt more beginner to the stuff that was a lot more difficult. The difference in my work was insane. So, there were many factors in my work getting better, but when I started doing stuff that felt too hard, I started copying, got some books. There was one book really, but I remember looking at it going, this is too hard. I'm never going to be able to draw fur like this. It's too advanced. No, that's the stuff you want to do. That's the stuff. Find the advanced stuff. Find the stuff that you look and go, wow, I want to paint like that someday. That's the class you should be taking. That's the artwork you should be practicing doing. That's the reference photo you should be going from, not the one that felt comfortable and easy. You're not progressing with comfortable and easy. You're going to progress with the hard stuff. You're going to become that master with the hard stuff. Okay. Next. That was a fun question. Speedman said, where do you recommend finding reference photos when drawing animals? So if you're looking for free reference photos, Pixabay and Unsplash have a lot. The downside is occasionally people upload stuff to those that they don't have rights to, so there's always a risk with that. But you do have a lot that are royalty free. I usually look to see what camera they used. If they have like the camera info, then it's usually okay. If it's just JPEG with no camera used, they probably stole it from someone else. As a general rule, that's kind of how I sort through that. Is it always going to be true? No, then that's what I do. If you want to go with a paid version, I love wildlifereferencephotos.com. I just spent $20 with them this last weekend. Those of you on Discord with me on our Patreon Discord know that because you were helping me pick stuff out. But I got 10 photos, 10 amazing photos I chose, $20. Like, that's such a good deal for amazing, amazing photos. But Unsplash and Pixabay have a lot of really good ones too. So like good enough that when I do those lessons for Patreon, I want to make sure I find an alternative photo. So if the student didn't want to buy that photo, I want to find an alternative for them they can use that's from Pixabay or Unsplash, and they can use my techniques for that photo. So that's my plan. We'll see how that works. Depends on what photos I can find. So anyway, those are my three. The paid would be wildlife reference photos, free, Unsplash and Pixabay. Or of course, if you're one of my patrons, I also provide, if you're on the currently $4, will be $6 in October. Unless you sign up now, you get to stay $4. Those, you get 5 reference photos a month, and then the higher tiers get the 10 total. Okay. Tiffany said, do you ever color on Procreate or Autodesk Sketchbook? Yeah, I have Sketchbook Pro. I love that one. Wait, is that the one I was using? I don't even remember which one I liked. Normally if I do digital art, I prefer Photoshop, but that's on my Wacom tablet. But on digital art, I want to say it was Autodesk Sketchbook Pro. But then there was another company, and I don't remember which one was which. I may have switched. Which, if you go back and look, I did a video of a Blue and Gold Macaw, a digital one on a tablet. Whatever program I used on that is the one that I used, but it's been a long time. Alice said, do you book recommendation for nonfiction? Is there good books for artists for the marketing or business side of things? There might be. Here's the thing. Most of the stuff that I see books for on that sort of thing, you can get it for free. So it's hard for me to be like, yeah, go buy this book because there's probably free content. There are so many of us on YouTube. Well, good luck finding it because YouTube's search engine is broken. But there's so much free content out there. I would say find a creator you like and that you connect to and see if they've got a book maybe, or if they've got a course on marketing. And I wouldn't do marketing for artists. Most of the people that I saw that were pushing things that they had their online course or they had whatever, the marketing for artists, these were not artists that I think were making very much themselves. It was like they wrote a book to make money because they weren't making money off selling. They had ideas, but it wasn't like, I wouldn't pay for it from what I saw. That sounds mean, but it's true. Look for just generalized marketing and figure out how to make that work for art. That is your better bet. Just art or just marketing videos even. There are art, like I'm right now learning, it is marketing really. There's a guy, I don't remember his name, but I've been watching a bunch of his content on YouTube and he's got marketing, he's got advertising tips on how to write the perfect ad for like Facebook. He's got a lot of stuff like that, free. He sells stuff. You can sign up for some of these courses, but they're for like so much good content for free that I don't know that I don't think that there's a good this is how you sell art book. I wouldn't wait, obviously because I've not done it. Any generalized marketing is what I would go for. I think you're going to get something that is more expert based, somebody who is more likely to know what they're talking about, who actually like has really studied this, than the art marketing people have been questionable, to say the least, that I saw. Are there new ones out there that are amazing? Possibly. I haven't seen them. But in the past, over the last several years, there were a few, and I was on some of the email lists. And they started getting weirdly pushy and started telling people if you didn't sign up for their book or their course, you didn't take your art career seriously, and they knew you didn't take it. It was weird. These people got bizarre. And they're the only one I can think of that was fairly well known for doing that sort of thing. So I would go for generalized marketing, not somebody who's trying to specifically say art marketing. You just need to figure out how to twist that and work it towards art. And I know I'm not an expert, with that. I can give you some tips, but I'm not going to be the best person to go to because I focus more on the videos and the teaching aspect than the selling part. So it would almost be like me writing a book on this is how you sell art when I don't focus on that myself. So, and that's basically what happened with those. That's actually a good example. It would be the people who are selling those books for selling art would be the same as me writing that book. And I can tell you right now, I'm not an expert. They're not an expert. They knew how to write a book, and yeah. So anyway, answer is no. Nate said, thank you for your Patreon lessons. Highly enjoy the content. We'll be doing the acrylic raven and butterfly fish this weekend. Yay! Oh, that gives me goosebumps. That makes me so happy. Like seriously, I totally got goosebumps. Yeah, okay, I can't see. Eoslav said, my downfall are whiskers. I can't get them fine enough. How do you go about drawing them? Sharpen your pencil and push harder. No. Sharpen the pencil and, I can't say push harder because it depends. There's too many factors there. So sometimes the lighter hand would work. Sharpen your pencil is my answer. Even him, I'll probably put a few more. Not that much more. And I don't think there's been any bids on him. I think Panda drawing auction started. Yeah, he's still $55 if you want a panda. Okay. What time is it? We've got 15 minutes if you guys have more questions. Oh, the digital app I used for Art Rage. That's the one that I liked. Now, I have not used it forever. It could have updated and been terrible because I used Photoshop to do digital painting. But yeah, that was the one that I liked. Oh, here we go. We got some more. Thank you, Nick. Cat's Art Pick said, can I use the same eraser that I use for polychromos pencils for the charcoal? I wouldn't. I think it's a bit too overkill. It's too rough. I would go with something like the Tombow Mono eraser because you can get really thin lines. That one for little details. Or, I mean, it depends on how thin of a line you need. Tombow Mono eraser, if you're looking for something with that smaller detail, though, would be what I'd go with on this paper with charcoal. The colored pencils are just, because of all the wax and stuff, that's where I need that Faber-Castell Perfection eraser. So it's, yeah, I think it would be very overkill for charcoal. I think it would rough up the paper too much. Vanessa, okay, you got that one. Angela said, Lisa, is it possible for me to sign up with Patreon and not do physical sendables like stickers, etc.? Just interested in content. We are decluttering and trying to purge this year. Oh, man, do I understand that. Yes, the lowest tier, the $4 tier, I don't send you anything. You get the reference photos, but everything is just downloadable, or the videos you would just watch online. So absolutely. Let's see. A few more minutes to chat if you guys want. Unless we want to wrap up early. I don't know. It's up to you. You can sit here and watch me drink tea. That sounds exciting. I'm trying to think if there were any other topics to go over. Angela said, weirdly enough, that was my biggest concern. That's funny. Oh, peach tea. I'm jealous. Peach is my favorite. Like, anytime I can get peach flavor, yes, that is. I have peach ginger tea. I'm going to have hot tea later. It's decaf. Okay. Let's see. That's a good question. Oh, look at you setting me up for a nice little promo there. Starving Artist Collective said, please explain benefits of each tier. Oh, no, Cal, lay down. Me being happy doesn't mean, no, Cal, go lay down. Look at that bad cow. Not in his bed. Down. Wade. Don't just stand there and stare at me. Stubborn greyhounds. Okay, so tiers. I will read so I remember all of the things. Oh, somebody's getting the panda. You're getting quite a deal too. I really like how he came out. You're gonna like him. I'm excited he gets a house. Okay, besides my house, what am I looking for? Tiers. So I'm going to head over to my website. So we will go to Lachri. Oh, no, not that. I actually need that page open. A new page. Dang it. Why are you... I hate when they... I can't get... Yes, remove. Discord will make a pop-up and it just does not want to go away sometimes. That was really annoying. Okay. Lachri.com, and we can go and look. So you can go, if you want to look along with me, head over to Lachri.com, and I am going to go over to Patreon. Let's see what all of these tiers have. So the first tier right now is $4. That is going to go up to $6. And that is the Phthalo Green membership. You get instant access to over 300 art lessons. So every single tier, except for the $1 donation, which I don't have on here, but the actual like tiers, the $4 tier all the way to the 19, all of those, you get every single video. None of them are being held back. So like if you didn't want the other bonus stuff, you are not at like, you still get all the videos, every single video. There are over 300. I added it up recently. It was over, what was it? 675 hours worth of lessons. So much content. So you get over 300 of those, and then a new one every week, or almost every week. 5 high-resolution reference photos of either wildlife or flowers that I take myself. And I'm also now started doing step-by-step downloadable guides. Not all of the videos have that now, but the newer ones, as I'm going through, I try to take steps along the way. So you can download those and really look at what yours should look like at that stage, which is helpful on those ugly stages where you might be getting discouraged thinking, is this right? Does this look okay? So that is included. Next, we have the $9, which is going to be $9, $10, $11 it's going to go up to. I think everything's just going to go up by $2. That one is instant access to, again, those videos. You get the new lesson. You get 10 photos every month, though, instead of just the 5. So you get those initial 5 plus an additional 5. You get into the monthly group art challenge, which I need to do tomorrow. We need a new art challenge. Totally optional to join. You're not required to do it. It just, the art challenge is where I write down, I give you a challenge, like the last one was, I think it was the last one, 3 elements. You were to take 3 things, 3 of your favorite things. So like a flamingo, an octopus, and I don't know, a spoon. I like spoons. And combine those into one image and figuring out how to do that. And they give some tips to how to do it, and we go through that. Sometimes I provide a reference photo and show you the colors that we're focusing on getting the values correct. And they're set up in a way to help you push forward in your art and to just challenge you. So especially if you're having a hard time coming up with something to do, those challenges should help. So you get into that. And then a thank you postcard sent every month. And those postcards will have my art on it. Then the $14 was going to go up to $16. Again, if you are already a member, you're locked in at $14. You are locked in at whatever price you have. Don't get scared and think your prices are going up. They're not. I'm not Amazon or Netflix or YouTube, who all just raise the prices on everybody. If you're a member, you are forever locked in at the price you're currently at, as long as you're at that tier. So $14 a month is going to be $16. That is the Aqua membership. So you get all that other stuff. Plus you get, let's see, you have permission to use any of my animal or flower photos that I post to Instagram or MeWe, like my animals I sometimes post. That's not a ton of them, but you're completely allowed. Mainly it's frogs. You get to use the frogs in your artwork, my red-eye tree frogs. Sometimes flowers. I should take more flower photos though. Anyway, I have some mini orchids that just bloomed. I will get photos for you guys soon. You get a new downloaded, I put each week. I need to change that because I'm just uploading 4 once a month. Downloadable coloring page. So you could print that on watercolor paper. You could use watercolor to color it in. You could use it to practice with Inktense. You could just use it for whatever you want, or color if you want to color. And then you get cost on all of my prints from Pixel Fine Art America, my print shop. You get not the merch shop, that's different, like the t-shirts, but the prints, the print shop, Fine Art America. I give you a code each month that, thank God, Dolphin Soul always reminds me lately, but that will give you my cost on any print. $19, which is going to be $19, $20, $21, because I have to do that in my head. I can't just think, oh, $2. $21 a month. That one, it's all the previous stuff, but you also get monthly greeting cards. So you get a larger, I put it as greeting cards, but I need to change the wording on that. They're mini prints. It's the size of a greeting card, but it's just one sheet, and it's just a mini print. It's a matte print, beautiful prints. And your postcard and a sticker. You get a little like art-based, do I have any in here? I don't know where they are, but a small little like 2-inch sticker, something art related, like Art Hoarder or something cute like that. And that comes in an envelope. And the cool thing about that is the envelope, it protects everything. So the postcards that you get in the lower tiers, they go through the mail, they get stamps all over the place because it's your typical postcard. They're not going to be in perfect condition when you get to, because they're just, postcard through the mail. This will be in an envelope, so everything comes pristine. So if you are somebody who is looking to have like print quality, even with the postcard, this is a good option. And yeah, those are your different tiers. But the cool thing, if you're just looking for lessons, just the videos, you can do that at the lowest tier. Currently $4 is going to be 16, or it's not going to be 16, it's going to be 6. So that is coming. And Angela is a member, so Angela can go see all the videos now. Also, for every single one of those tiers, you get access to our Discord channel. So in Discord, if you're not familiar with it, download the app. It's like a chat thing, and we've got different rooms. Like we've got one where we're talking about books. We've got a room where we're talking about, or a channel, but it's like a room, where we're talking about posting photos of our pets. Different ones, art tips, random chatting, where you guys were helping me this week pick photos. So, or this weekend for upcoming lessons. So that's really fun. I am personally really enjoying Discord, and it's nice because people are able to ask questions and get pretty quickly a response. Whereas Patreon, when you leave a comment on a video, I don't always see it. I went through, somebody asked for an older video, like a 5-year-old video. There were questions I never saw, never answered. And it looks like I just ignored people. And it was so, I felt so bad. But it's like, I don't even know if they're still members anymore. Like, it was so old. I had no idea that the Patreon doesn't always let me know when somebody asked a question on those. So this is, Discord has been wonderful. Okay. Let's see. Thank you for that setup for the Patreon promotion. That was awesome. Let's see. Can I see the panda, please? I joined really late. Absolutely. There is the panda. Okay, it's kind of lopsided. Let's see if I can unlopside it. You get the idea. That is a cute panda. He's so cute. I'm really happy with him. Okay. Dolphin Soul said, can you recommend archival storage for our prints? I keep mine come in one of those big acid-free bags. I just keep them in that because if I buy prints that I am storing, I get the, what is that called? It's like that clear bag stuff that they come with. I just keep all of mine in that, and then it's in cardboard within that. I wouldn't put it just so it's touching cardboard because the cardboard is not acid-free. But yeah, I want to say cellophane, but that's not it. It's like just this clear envelope, basically, for like comic books are stored in it. So Matt would know the name. Rob, you're here. You'd know the name, wouldn't you? So yeah, that is, that's how I store mine. If you don't have that, some sort of like a photo box, an acid-free photo box. Blick has some that I bought. They were big, or was it Jerry's Artorama? I think they both have them. Check prices on both. But it's like this big black photo storage box, and it's acid free, so I can just put my artwork in it. And what I do with that, with the artwork that I store, because it'll be like anything that, like charcoal, pan pastels, anything that might smudge, I don't want to put in a sleeve, like a portfolio type sleeve. I put it in those boxes, and I put a piece of glassine in between each of those. So that would be another option, is one of those boxes. Let's see. Wendy said, what studio lighting do you use while doing your art? So I kind of went overboard because mine, I'm set up for live streaming, and I have 3 Elgato lights, the Elgato Air, and then the Elgato, I don't know what the bigger one was called, but I've got 3 over here. Usually when I'm drawing, I will use the one off to the side, and I've also got one, it might be in the video description. If it's not, if you look at any of my acrylic painting supply list, I think it's there. Oh, I should have added that to mine. I'm making a new supply list video, and I should have probably added that. But anyway, there's a light that I use, I got from Amazon. It just clamps onto my easel. They have floor lights as well. And that one is, it's a daylight type bulb, so it's like natural lighting. You don't want something that's gonna be too warm or too cool. And let me show you what happens if you're not aware of what happens when you're not using the right type of light. So let's pull up the Panda. So here is my normal lighting. This is your normal daylight, so it's a very accurate lighting. Watch what will happen if I change the, which light do I need? Hold on one second. I need that one. Which key light? That is key light air, key light, it's this one. If you've got lighting that is too yellow, look at how it changes, or if it's too cool. If you're trying to get an accurate color, imagine if you're working in color, trying to get that to be accurate, and your light is too cool white or it's too warm. Like the lights around most of my house are going to be my warm light. That is not, this is accurate. This is about 5200, but that is going to make a very big difference in your colors as you're mixing. You won't even realize. I had a lady who was painting a forest, and it was all greens, and she came to class, and she shows me her reference photo, and she shows me the art. The reference photo, everything is greens. She doesn't understand why it doesn't look the same. her painting was purple. Everything was purple. I'm like, how? So I start trying to get information out of her. She's like, I don't know how this happened. I don't like it. I just don't know how it happened because this is not what it looked like in my house. It was the lighting she had. She had a light that was casting a weird tint on it. And so she was countering, when she was mixing her acrylic paint, she was countering that light. And then she gets out in real light and realized, that's not what I thought it looked like. So you want to go with something that has a natural daylight. I think I've got mine set at 5200 right now. I'm not sure what this one's set at, but right around there, 5400, 5200 Kelvin or whatever. I don't know the technical terms, but that is what you want to go with, something that's going to be very accurate that way. But I've got the one from Amazon above me, and then I've got bonuses that you wouldn't really need. It's just because my setup for live streaming, but they also use them for art because why not if you have them? Fly Me to the Moon said, what if I like my donation level, but just don't want the physical stuff? So you can actually change in your settings. There's a thing where you don't put your address. If I don't have your address, I can't send you anything. So that's an easy way out. But don't put your address into the thing. And then there's an option in there to say that you don't want physical goods or something like that, like you change your settings. Jude said, I don't do wet media, so I'm not sure Patreon is for me. Will your oil pastel puffin be available as a purchasable tutorial? I don't have plans for that at this point because this is the thing. If, let's say I sell it is an individual lesson, I'm going to be selling that for $35 minimum. You may as well sign up for $4 a month and get all, like, it makes no sense financially for you to buy it at $35. And if I'm selling, I mean, that's how much individual lessons go for. That's why I don't think Patreon has been wonderful because I'm able to offer it for so little because I can get so many signed up under this one kind of umbrella of all the lessons. But that's the only reason it's that little. Patreon lessons, like those individual lessons would be about $30, $35 a piece. Is your average for one single art lesson. Like that is what, when we used to sell them individually, that's what they went for. So $4 and you just get all of them. Even if you don't use all of them, you are getting such an insane deal for that one. You could sign up for 1 month, do the puffin when it comes, and I don't want to make you any promises because I don't remember when the puffin is scheduled. It's not like tomorrow or anything, but when it is coming. I'm super excited to start it though. But anyway, you're getting a way better deal just signing up for Patreon at $4 because I promise you that, like, if you're thinking, oh, I could get it for 10 cents because it's only 1 out of 300, like that's not how that works. So it would just make more sense to do Patreon, do the lessons you want, and then cancel if you're not interested in anymore. And the cool thing is when you cancel, you don't even have to tell me. I don't even necessarily, I mean, I can look up that somebody isn't there anymore if I took the time to do that, which I don't, but like you cancel yourself through your own account settings. I don't have access to your account. You don't have to be like, hey, Lisa, I need you to cancel me. So there's no weird awkwardness if you're done. So just a cool thing there. Okay. Couple more questions and we'll wrap this up. These are good questions. I love the Patreon questions because I don't always think of talking about that. Baby Panda said, how can you get to your Patreon group on Discord? I belong to both, but I can't get your group. Someone remind me, make sure I put it, there's a link, but it's an outdated link, and I don't know why it's not automatically, you should just be joined if you're on Patreon, if you're using the same email though. That might be why. But I will put another link, if not tonight, tomorrow, somebody remind me. Dolphin Soul's like been my go-to lately, reminding me of all the things. But remind me or message me on Patreon if you want, and I'll get that link for you. So then you can join and talk with us. We just randomly chat. It's late. It's done. We're done with the live stream about all sorts of things. So it's a fun little, like, I don't know. I feel like I've gotten to know a lot of you guys better. So it's been fun. Anyway, it's nice having little art, our little art group, art friends. It's not that we can't chat in like MeWe and stuff. It's just that it's a group of us and it's all that instant chat, like with a group, but there's not so many people in there talking that it's overwhelming, which is nice. So anyway, there we go. Oh, Kelsey won the Panda. Yay. I will get him. I've got to send the last week's L out tomorrow, or not tomorrow, this week too. So these will be going out soon. Anyway, there we go. That is it. I think that is all. We are done for the night. Thank you guys for joining. I will get this lesson updated. So if you wanted to follow along again, or, just the edited version will be up tomorrow. And thank you guys for everything. Yeah, Baby Pandas, I've got to contact Patreon. I don't know why it's not automatically adding people. It's supposed to. So yeah, we'll have to figure that out. But message me if I don't, and I will get you if I forget, and I will get you the link. I think that's it. Thank you guys. Thank you so much to our moderators. We've got Clark Fine Art, Nick Edgar, and Joseph Fincham. I know that Joseph and Clark Fine Art they do live streams regularly. Make sure you sign up for their channels. Links are in the video description for more art. And there we go. I will see you guys, well, the videos I'm uploading this week, but I will see you hopefully in Discord. And next Wednesday I don't know what next Wednesday is. Oh, we are very soon going to be doing another critique for Patreon members. I'll open it up for the $19 tier. I'll set it to like, maybe we're going to do 20 people to do one live stream. I'll open it to $19 tier. And then depending on how many sign up for that, I'll like keep dropping by tiers until we get up to 20 max. So I've had a lot of requests from patrons lately to do critiques. So those are coming, and one of the live streams soon, maybe next week. It might be next week. Might be the week after. Soon. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Thank you. Thank you. And yep, that is it. Bye. Yeah.